let's bring on the director of No One Will Save You. Director Brian Duffield is here. Brian, did I pronounce your name correctly and your lead actress?
I think you pronounced everyone's name correctly.
Great. Well, tell us about this film. Obviously, I think you witnessed my rave review of this movie, and I've talked to other friends of mine who've seen it because it's now on Hulu. My first question for you is the script.
Mm-hmm.
How do you do a script where almost no one says a word?
You cheat and you keep your character by herself for most of the movie.
Right. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
She's by herself. I mean, there are other characters in the film, but there's
yeah.
almost nothing. Am I wrong? I think she says something to herself in the car by herself. Like, she's trying to start a car and she has an issue, but there's nothing spoken.
Are you asking how do you format a script that has no dialogue?
Yeah, no dialogue. Like, what do you do? What's the script look like? Is it 30 pages? Like, tell me about the script for this.
No, I think someone just reminded me that it was 87 pages, so it's a little short. No, it's a lot of in like action scenes. You don't have a ton of dialogue usually, so it's just, and I write very sparse anyway, so it's just kind of like a line of action. So it's kind of the idea is like every line is like a new shot or a new thought. And so, I didn't know it was dialogue free for a long time because I knew Caitlyn's character of Brand was going to be, the movie's about being isolated a lot. And so I knew she wasn't going to talk to anyone in town and that she wasn't going to have like a dog or anything like that at home. And so I was about, I think, halfway through and I knew there's an encounter she has at a police station and I knew that was going to happen. And then after that, I realized that she hadn't spoken yet. And so I was like, I could just see this through. So yeah, so it was kind of a happy accident. Yeah.
There's the look at the police station, which kind of reminds me a little bit of Invaders from Mars, the classic science fiction film. I'm sure you've seen that, which is also partially a possession story, but also a story of like, no one believes me. The isolation element of the film I thought was so well done because we live at a time where we are so isolated from each other. We think we're connected with our devices and this, and I have all these friends on social media. Those aren't real friends. You know what I mean?
Right.
So the movie like really leans into the nature of being isolated, alone, and whatnot. And then there are these invaders. The other thing I really want to discuss is the special effects.
Cool.
The budget was $22 million. It looks so good. Like and there are like ideas in it. I don't, like I say, I don't want to talk about the second half of the film, but tell me about working with the special effects, and because there are some just horrific moments with these invaders.
Yeah, no, it was a big. We work with DNEG, who do everything from they just won the Oscar for Dune. It's a much smaller movies like our movie, and so it was great getting to work with them because for the size of the movie, there's way more visual effects than I think you would expect. And way more aliens. And so that was also a thing. Like we knew we weren't going to get, Andy Serkis level, aliens because we didn't have $100 million to spend, but it was like, okay, how do we make sure that the aliens that we do have can be scary and have personality and convey intelligence and feel like they don't take you out of the movie. Like that was the biggest thing where you have such a powerhouse with Caitlyn acting opposite, I think it would be tough for an actor to keep up with Caitlyn, but for a CG character, you really have to believe that they deserve to be on screen with Caitlyn. So that was kind of the push and pull where it was like stretching that dollar as far as it could go. And sometimes that meant kind of going the opposite direction, like, making them feel like they almost could be stop motion. So that was something that we played with a bunch to just give it like a tactile quality so that, if it couldn't be the Planet of the Apes, the hyper expensive version, sometimes it was like, well, let's make it feel like a little cheaper, a little bit more handmade. And sometimes that kind of made your brain click into like, oh, it's there and it's scary. Oh no, I can't hear you. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Chris, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry about that. We have almost 500 people watching us live right now, and we have a ton of questions for you. I don't know how long you can stay on, but like a lot of people asking questions. Can you take some questions from the audience?
I can't. I have a hard out at 11 because I'm taking my daughter to her first movie, which I'm very excited about.
You're kidding. What movie are you taking her to?
Saw.
Saw X.
Oh. No, I'm taking her to
review that. After your interview, we're going to review Saw X. Maybe people have been saying
I heard it's great. I'm so excited to see it.
Like Barbenheimer, that people have been saying too. People have been saying Saw Patrol.
I know, Patrol. Yeah. She's 4, so I don't know how good Saw would go down, but she's very excited to go to the movies for the first time.
We'll get to as many of these questions and comments as we can. First of all, Uncle Remus says, it was a cool movie, Brian. Congrats. It should have been in theaters. And Geek Truth 64 says, Brian wrote Underwater 2. Very underrated film. So let's see. And then here's
just to back up, but did you know it was going straight to Hulu or was
no, I sold it intentionally and shot it specifically thinking, everyone's gonna watch this on their phones. So I was like, that's why a lot of the movie Caitlyn is pretty close in frame, and I was like, if someone's watching on their phone and she's not talking, I want to make sure they can follow the story
and pay attention for sure.
Yeah.
Let's see. So many questions here. What was your inspiration to make a film with no dialogues? Is JTPRX?
Yeah, I felt like it made it scarier for her that she didn't have anyone to talk to. No one would help her. And then also there was no, the classic TV trope of, CNN being like, over Austin today, there were mysterious lights and this is how you defeat the aliens. It felt like taking away all the exposition put her at a disadvantage and made her and hopefully the audience lean in and go, okay, what is going on and how do I solve this with the little information I get?
Well, it's also interesting you didn't have her speak to herself. Like, come on, you can do it. She didn't like speak to herself, which is
she mumbles a lot. Yeah. Like there's little bits. I told Caitlyn when I cast her, I was like, you can talk as much as you want. I'm just not going to write it down because it sounds really dorky when you write like, this is what I have to do today kind of dialogue to yourself. Right. So there's times where she's mumbling and it's not subtitled or anything. I don't know what she's saying, but it's like when it's appropriate for her to kind of be like, okay, what do I do? Like she's doing that, but it's just not the, since she doesn't like psych herself up verbally.
Cool. Question here from Razorburn. Brian, were you inspired by the movie Fire in the Sky or the Twilight Zone episode, The Invaders, in which the woman never speaks?
Definitely. It's funny. I forgot about The Invaders until very recently, and then I felt ashamed. And then, but definitely Fire in the Sky, which I think has the scariest alien scene ever in it. So that was partially, I was like, I'm not going to go that far with the movie because I can't compete with that. But then also that movie has a lot of, they don't believe us and like talking to the townspeople and all of that, town life, and part of it was like, take away all of that guy's friends and it becomes a very different experience where like no one would believe him and he doesn't have anyone to tell about this horrific thing that happened to him. So yeah, Fire in the Sky was a big one. Yeah.
And then Wes Ray asks, what are some of your favorite alien invasion / abduction movies? Fire in the Sky is the GOAT, scary as hell.
Yeah. In terms of bad aliens, I'm a big fan of Signs. I love Shyamalan's Signs. I love some of the more esoteric alien invasion movies like Under the Skin or Annihilation. And then I really love Mars Attacks too, which I know is like the complete opposite direction, but I love little maniacs.
Mars Attacks is a guilty pleasure. It's a lot of fun.
I have no guilt. I'm all in.
Exactly. Let's see. Brock Samsonite asks, are there subtitles at all, or is it all physical action?
I think there's subtitles for the one very direct line that Caitlyn has, and beyond that, I asked for there to be no subtitles because I don't know what she's saying. So, and then I think there's like physical action, closed captioning, that kind of thing.
Zodlander asks, how did you approach the actors with this concept?
I think it's actor bait. Like, I think they're so, Caitlyn was so excited about being physical and doing this without dialogue. Like, I think there's something about like, I'm going to be on screen the whole time and I have to show off, you know, I don't have like the crutch of banter. So I think she was always so game, and she was really excited for the physical challenge of like the stunts and just how physically demanding the role is. So that we talked a lot more about, you know, her running than her not speaking, weirdly enough.
Wow.
Can you talk about casting her? Can you talk about casting her? Yeah, I mean, people in chat.
Yeah,
she's
no,
like
we
one
sent
of
her the
these
script
underutilized actors out there right now.
Yeah, no, we sent her the script, and I hopped on a Zoom with her. I had met her a couple times previously over the years, and I just really love the idea of someone like Caitlyn in this movie. You know, someone that hadn't, you know, been a Jedi, kind of thing. Like, you had seen kill a million aliens. You know, I like the idea that you'd seen her in Booksmart and Unbelievable and these amazing roles, but like you hadn't seen her like run on screen before, let alone, you know, have to kick ass and everything. So that was really exciting to get to work with her. And then she's just such a phenomenal actor. You know, it's like a cheat code. Like, I think before I cast her, I had anxiety about it. Like how to convey this dialogue-free movie with an actor that has to be on screen every second. And then once I cast Caitlyn, I was like, oh, this is the least of my problems. And it was. I was really spoiled by her.
We had a super chat come in from Bush and Ryu Cat for 5. Brian, will special features for the Blu-ray have making of with you just pointing?
Hopefully there's a Blu-ray at some point. I know it's an ongoing process with Hulu and everything to kind of figure that out. But yeah, I think we talk a lot on set, so if there is that kind of stuff, it will not be more than just me pointing.
Greasy Guido for 5 asks, and who's a member, says, did you have the alien body forms planned out ahead of time? The way they were incorporated was brilliant.
Yeah, we had a lot of design meetings beforehand, and wanting it to start as the kind of classic gray, and then kind of evolve from there. So yeah, that was all very much pre-planned, and a lot of very talented people came up with a lot of really cool bonus features on those guys.
And then Bush and Ryu Cat has another question here. No One Will Save You is an homage to 1930s silent films, right?
Yeah, I thought about having the exclamation mark at the end, and then I chickened out.
Why? I love exclamation
marks at the end of a quite vibe. But like, yeah, so it was just kind of tonally. I didn't want it to feel like, if you didn't know anything about the movie, like No One Will Save You kind of feels like a threat. And with the exclamation mark, does it feel like a little cheesy in a way that I like? So I never fully committed, but I thought about the exclamation mark. Yeah.
Well, Mars Attacks has an exclamation point.
I know, that was the thing.
Yeah, I think that's the point.
I went veered away from Mars Attacks because how can I compete?
Cool. And then let's see. Immortal Remus question for Brian. Were there any challenges filming something with minimal /0 dialogue?
Shooting wise, no, weirdly enough, because, you know, you're shooting just shot by shot, so you never really think about it in the moment. And then in post, it was funny, like when you take away dialogue, sometimes people's minds will just kind of create dialogue or backstory for things in a way that's unhelpful to the movie. So then it was a lot of like really making sure people were focusing on the right things and paying attention to the right things, and not thinking about things that didn't matter. So that was kind of the push and pull of the no dialogue in post. But yeah.
And then question here. Solomon Thornton says, greetings, Sir Brian. Any advice for beginning filmmakers?
I think for me, the thing because making movies is so hard, and I think assembling your family has been the thing that makes it easier every day. So there's a bunch of people that worked on my last movie that came over to this movie. There's a bunch of people from this movie that'll hopefully come with me to the next one. And then just having that family unit of people that you can rely on makes it fun, but also makes it a lot less daunting than if everyone was a stranger to you. I mean, there's people I went to college with that worked on my first movie, and I made that 15 years after I graduated or something. So having that community is really, to me, it has made it so much easier, and it gets easier each movie because then that family kind of expands and gets larger. And you're like, well, production design's taken care of and sound is taken care of. It's kind of nice to have to hire way above your level and then get to keep them around if they like you.
300 Mirrors asks, was there ever a different ending you considered without spoiling the current one? No. I thought that was brilliant.
No, it was bizarrely always the ending. And so I kept waiting for someone to say no, and it never happened. And so I just kept rolling with it. So it was, it just never changed, which is so weird when you see it, how they let me do that.
And just a few more here.
Yeah.
Because I know you have to go. Razorburn asked, Brian, in your opinion, do you believe in extraterrestrial life? Have you seen a UFO?
I haven't seen anything, which is a constant disappointment in my life. I think I believe in it just in terms of the infinite possibility of the universe. I don't know if I believe in that they're already here or all of the government stuff right now. I'm whatever the opposite of agnostic is. Like I really, I'm Mulder. Like I really want to believe, and I would be very excited when the day comes. But I haven't seen anything, and it sucks.
And final comment here from Zodlander. Oh no, wait, we've got two more comments. Sure. Zodlander sends in 20 Swedish krona.
Cool.
And he just sends an exclamation point.
Love it. Oh, because of the title? There it is. In Sweden, we'll add it. Yeah.
There you go. And Nicholas Vargo for 999 says, hey, Brian, love your work, sir. I know I'm pivoting, but I need to give you praise for Spontaneous. It is so fantastic. Every new movie with your involvement has made me excited for what is next.
Great. I don't know what's next, but that's very sweet. Yeah, my strike just ended, so now I'm figuring it out. And I didn't know how people like the movie, and they seem to really like it. So hopefully I get to make another one. But I don't have the next Mrs. Malcolm in the chamber yet, but I need to figure it out.
Well, we were explaining earlier, there was this rumor that makes no sense that Rachel Zegler was fired from Snow White. And I was trying to explain like she wasn't fired. Entertainment is a freelance business. Like, you know what it's like you finish your job.
She's so wonderful and great. Like I don't. Yeah, she's not getting fired.
Yeah,
she's not getting murder someone.
But what I'm saying is that people don't understand that the entertainment industry is a freelance business. You are unemployed right now. The movie's done. You're unemployed. You're trying to get another job.
Yeah, I tell my in-laws that, and my wife gets so mad. Like I said, she's like, "You don't say you're unemployed." I'm like, "I am unemployed." And it's different.
It's like, I have friends who are screenwriters, and they're always like, "I just sold a big script. I don't know if I'll work again after this." Like,
yeah, no, it's a constant. That's why I drink alcohol. Yeah, I have no idea. It's like you're just like, hopefully they let you do it again, and I'm very happy that the vibes around this movie have been so positive. But yeah, hopefully I get the chance to keep doing it. And but yeah, I remember when I joined the Writers Guild, they were like, there's more professional baseball players than professional writers, and I think it was meant to be encouraging, and I found it terrifying because so many people get, that's a very limited window of employment for a baseball player, and I feel like the same is true of all these kind of gig economy kind of things, and so I'm just happy when I get to work.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for spending time
with guys.
The Film Threat Livecast. Have a great afternoon with your daughter seeing her very first movie.
Thank you. Yeah, she's very excited. I'm very excited. It's who knew I would be so excited for Paw Patrol too, but I am. I've been looking forward to this for weeks, so we're gonna have a lot of fun.
Awesome. All right. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Take care.